I know I'm pulling.
Welcome back to Double Doink Dynasty podcast presented by, again, myself and Mattoon. What's happening, dude?
Just living another day, man, in paradise.
For real this time, though. Forget
Yeah,
Arizona.
yeah. The Dynasty podcast Aloha edition.
Too bad you're not actually on the beach. It would have been nicer views.
I prefer sand, not in my keyboards, but
That's fair. All right. So for all of you clowns that have been asking for the bottom division or the Colin division, we're gonna hit that for you right now. So you can shut your mouth. We're going to start at the top because that's where we started all of them. So we're going to talk about Mattoon's team here a little bit. He has Josh
let's
Allen.
have it.
He has Josh Allen and Desmond Ritter as quarterbacks. So pretty much Josh Allen always. Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Jerome Ford, Isaiah Pacheco at running back. Jerick McKinnon as well, but we don't count him. Wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk, Christian Kirk, Stephon Diggs, Jonathan Mingo, Cooper Kupp, Treylon Burks. I forgot. You have Jalen Warren too at running back, but also not starting him very often. He's just kind of that backup to Najee until he takes the job. So you're starting Kupp whenever he's in, not on a bye. You're starting Ayuk, you're starting Diggs as your general starting lineup. Having Mingo and Burks and Christian Kirk as young assets are also great. Tight end on his bench, Zach Oldman Ertz on IR. Noah Gray. And then he starts David Njoku every week. I know your favorite thing to do is not start a good tight end. We're punting tight end every season.
Yep.
We got a pick. He does have Cam Akers and Nick Chubb on IR. So we'll see what happens. Cam Akers probably pretty close to done for the career. Chubb will be back. And then we'll see what happens. Keaton Mitchell on the taxi has looked good the last couple weeks. So we'll see where we go from there as well. Mattoon only has Burns' first round this year. He's got 2 firsts next year and a couple, 4 seconds next year. And then he's got a second, a fifth, and 26. So picks, he doesn't have a lot of them, but all the picks he does have are in the first and second round, minus that oddball fifth that we are supposed to not trade. Burns and Underhill, don't trade those picks. Come on, get it together. So once that's available to trade, I'm sure he'll trade it for a second. Why hold a fifth? So Mattoon's team is still a fairly young team. He does have Chubb, that's a little bit older. He does have Diggs, that's a little bit older. He has Cooper Kupp, that's a little bit older. But I think these are not pieces I'm willing to move. If somebody will give you a decent haul for Chubb, sure, but that's not happening. Stephon Diggs is 29. He's going to be good for a while. He's got another couple of years. Cooper Kupp, this would be the guy I would consider probably moving if I'm moving a guy. He was injured to start the season. He was wide receiver 1 a couple of years ago, wide receiver 23. Now he's wide receiver 57. He played 9 games last year. He's at 5 this year. So Kupp is probably the one I'm looking to move if you can get a decent piece for him. But I don't see that happening. I don't see anybody looking to trade for an injured Kupp right now. Stafford banged up doesn't help. So Kupp is a guy we're probably holding until he is just done, unless somebody's willing to give you a first at this point, or maybe next year a couple seconds when he's 31 and you're just like, good, get him off my team. But I think Kupp's got another 2 years, which is a good window for the team you have. That Najee and Jalen Warren situation, I know that you've talked about getting off that a couple times this year. They're finally looking to be running the ball, which is great. I know that you and I have talked, and that was the goal. The back half of the year, the last couple of years, he's gotten a lot more carries in the back half. Yep. So that was your hope. And so far it's been decent the last couple of weeks. So if he can hold through, I like your team. Getting Christian Kirk off of me for Stroud. may not look the best because Stroud's doing well. But Kirk is also a good wide receiver. He's been leading Jacksonville. He's currently wide receiver number 25 on the year. But behind Diggs and Cup and Ayuk, you're not mad about that.
No.
I love Mingo still. I think Mingo's got a good shot to slowly take over in Carolina. And then Treylon Burks you have, he's another young piece, but I don't know what the hell that guy's going to be at this point. So what are your thoughts on your team right now?
Yeah, so my team has gotten absolutely decimated to start the year. So the fact that I'm sitting at potentially going 8-2, I'm feeling really good. I started the year with Chubb going down, JT, Cup on IR. And it just seemed like everything was going against me. Burke started the year on IR when I was hoping that he could kind of be my wide receiver 4, my flex spot. So it didn't start the way I wanted. Obviously, Najee was slow out of the gates, as he seems to do every year. But at this point, well, actually, backtrack. I think I was talking to a couple people. I legitimately, week 2 or 3, put my team up to sell. Cup, Diggs, Chubb, a lot of those guys, and I was serious about it. Things weren't looking great. So that was your time, guys, to just rob me, take everything from me like Lesack last year. I was ready for that moment, but went and bought Mostert for a future second, traded him a week or so ago. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. I think when you plug like our league and keep trade cut, which is one thing that you can do, I think I've actually got like the 4th or 5th youngest team. Biggest thing that I've tried to do is win now, but also build picks for the future. So I'm really hoping that 2025, between 2 hopefully early first and 4 seconds, I can reload a little bit. So when Cup and Diggs and Chubb are all, washed at that point. So, and you hit the nail on the head with moving Cup. It would be hard for me to move him right now. Sure, Stafford's out, but the hope is that, Stafford comes back as we start getting closer to our fantasy playoffs and postseason. And that's when Cup just starts going off. So
yeah, I think he's a ride till he dies asset.
Yep. So would have loved.
He's at the bottom of his value right now, so it's hard to trade that. And then at what point is he worth actually trading still?
Exactly. Well, and the other thing you hit on the head was Christian Kirk. You were looking for a backup quarterback at the time. For me, I took a flyer and took Ritter on a 4th. He started a couple games, played again last week or yesterday. So we'll see what he is, but I really needed an extra wide receiver, and Kirk's been a consistent 10 points a game or guy for me. So for filling a starting position, I'm still probably making that trade. Maybe if I make that trade now, I get an extra second back with it or whatever. But at the time I needed it. And I think that Kirk has been one of those guys to help get me where I am today. So can't be mad about that trade move looking back.
Yeah. And I think your team's pretty much in a hold situation. I think you're going to continue to be close to the top of this division next year as well, based on the youth and the team you've got built. So,
yeah. So
we'll see what happens.
Just hoping Najee can repeat what he's been doing the last couple of years, which is, I think week 9 on, the last 2 years has been like RB 4 or 5. So see if he can get there.
Yep. All right, let's jump. If you don't mind, take us to Kelly's team.
Yeah, let's roll with Kelly. So Kelly is currently sitting at 6-3 quarterbacks. He's got Russ, Stafford, who we just talked about, is injured. Jimmy G, that whole situation hasn't been great. And those are his 3 quarterbacks. Running backs, Derrick Henry, Gus Edwards, Ramondre Stevenson, Travis Etienne, Dante Foreman has been solid when needed. So he's got maybe running backs that aren't necessarily, besides Etienne, guys that you absolutely, think of in your top 10 list for dynasty purposes, but they've been producing for him. Gus Edwards has had good weeks. Ramondre Stevenson every once in a while will throw a good week. I think he had Foreman when he went off a couple weeks ago in his starting lineup. So depth at running back has definitely helped Kelly out. Wide receivers, again, your depth is the key here. He's got Keenan Allen, who's had a monster year at 30, 31, whatever Keenan Allen is nowadays. Debo had a solid week this week. Chris Olave finally had a really good game. He's got Amari Cooper, who's been having a pretty good year. After that, Sterling Shepard, I think, is the only other wide receiver he's got on his roster. Tight ends, he is loaded. He's taken the opposite approach to me in stacking up tight ends that are actually healthy. Sorry, Ty. But he's got Kittle. He's got Kincaid, who the last 3 weeks has looked really, really good. Once Knox went out for the season or out on IR, Kincaid's been the man, kind of that target number 2 for Josh Allen. And then he's also got Evan Ingram, who's having a good year in Jacksonville, similar to what he did towards the end of last year. And then Noah Fant, which that guy's trash. So I'd get rid of him any day for a second.
So real quick, talking about Kelly's team, we can get down to the picks in a second here.
Yep.
But he's got 4 empty taxi spots. At this point, if you wanted, for anybody that needs clarification, he could take and put one of his out guys, Jaron Hall, on his IR, pick up a rookie, and message me and go, yo, put that rookie on my taxi. Go pick up another rookie, put him on your lineup, say, yo, put him on my taxi. Go pick up another rookie, say, yo, put him on my taxi. You don't even have to drop anybody at this situation because you don't have anybody on your out or on your IR. Put one guy on your IR, go take a shot on 4 rookies and put them on your taxi. The only rule is they couldn't have been on a starting lineup or on a team, right? A lot of these guys that you see in the rookies say they've been dropped in August, which means that was when the 53-man cut hit. And at that point, I know they haven't been on a team. If they were cut at the 53-man cut or they've never been rostered, you can throw them in there. Why? Because I know for sure they've not been on a team at that point. So my suggestion to Colin before we get to his picks and what else he should do is move Stafford, move Jaron Hall, one of them to IR, or just drop Noah Fant, pick up some guys and move them to your taxi just to hold on to them. Even if you're going to drop them at the end of the year for your next round of rookies, it doesn't matter. Hold them, take a shot on them. At this point, we should never have 4 empty taxi spots. Just my personal opinion. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, you hit the nail on the head. He does have picks coming up. His picks this year are
first, 4th, and 5th.
Yep. So obviously you assume that first is either going to start the year on taxi or make his way to your starting lineup is, usually the hope and goal. Kelly right now is, he's in that conversation for wild card and even the division. So we'll talk about that here in a little towards the end, but that first could be mid to late. So maybe he's one of those guys that starts the year on taxi. Okay. So now you still have 3 rookies that you're holding from now until May. And then once we draft, we even expand the taxi spots. So really you've got 9 months to hold these guys and see if they can carve out a role, see if a team makes trades in the offseason, et cetera, et cetera. So you're 100% right. Dive into that rookie free agency and load up. So
all right. So back to his lineup. He is still in the hunt, like you said, for wild card, for division. If nothing else, he falls into consolation. He can still get 5th place, still make half his money back. It's where he ended last year. Thoughts on this team? What are you looking to do? Are you looking to buy? Are you looking to sell? Is there a position of need?
I think if I'm Kelly right now and I have depth, I am trying to move a guy like Amari Cooper, right? You've got Olave, who's young. Keenan Allen's been too hot at this point. I don't think you trade him. Debo could be another guy. So I think either Debo or Amari Cooper, you're trying to move one of those guys and go get, maybe it's a couple seconds, a late first, or even you're making a switch and you're throwing a future pick with those guys to get someone at that's younger at the position. Basically the opposite of what he's done, now. And granted, he was trying to win now. Is he bought Keenan Allen from me. He sent me Pittman in a second, the first year. Then I think in this offseason, he moved Judy to Jer Fry for Debo, and there was picks associated. So I think now that we'll see where the next week or so goes. And obviously we got the trade line coming up, but I think you try to get just a little bit younger if you can. I think wide receivers he's older at, and even those running backs. He's got ETN, who obviously is a young stud for dynasty purposes. Derrick Henry is one of those situations where do you get off of him before the wheels start falling off? There's no saying that they necessarily are. He's had really good games this season. Then he's also had really bad games like this past week. So it's just one of those things that
I think week 12 being the trade deadline, you have a couple weeks to make that determination on Henry.
Yep.
I think Gus Edwards is a piece I'm trying to move for a second at this point. Somebody that could use a running back, try to grab a second. I think Gus Edwards is a end of the year rental. I don't think he's going to have a clear cut starting job next year. If you can move even Deontay Foreman to whoever has Khalil Herbert, might not be a bad thing. I would, those are two of the running back pieces I'm looking to move. I'm not currently moving a wide receiver. I think they've carried him to this point. And as much as I would like to move a wide receiver, he's got 4 of them. And Allen had a shoulder injury. He came in and out twice this last week. He played through it. But if Allen ends up out for a week or two, you don't have the depth to deal with that. And I think keeping Debo, Olave, and Amari Cooper as your starting 3 is going to be important for the next week or two if Allen is hurt. I think that move is also a week 12 move. See where you're at week 12. And then, yes, if you're hitting consolation and you're like, I don't mind missing the consolation championship because it's $25. My pick could be better if I don't win. I could be in the bottom 6 instead of the 7 or 8. That makes a difference too. I'm not saying you're tanking, but at week 12, if you move a Keenan Allen for a couple picks, if you move Debo, if you move Amari Cooper to get younger / grab a couple picks, and then your pick goes from pick 8 for $25 to pick 6 or pick 5, maybe it's worth it. So that's what I would do. I think the depth is the hardest thing. Like you said, he's got depth at running back, but it's not depth we necessarily want. Gus Edwards has been good. Deontay Foreman has been good. Derrick Henry's been good for the most part, but he's hit or miss right now. ETN, and I'm keeping Stevenson. It doesn't matter to me. I'm keeping Stevenson at this point. I would be trading for a quarterback, or you're drafting a quarterback this year.
Yep.
You've got your first. You don't have a second or third. So if that's the case and you want a quarterback, you want a Drake May, you want a Caleb Williams, you want a JJ McCarthy, whoever falls to you at 5 to 8, then that's fine. You can go grab that. But I think with Russ, the best case scenario is you go get a quarterback here. And it might help you the rest of the season too, because Russ has not been great.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, quarterback. That was the next position I was going to go with. Russ has not been great. He's not cooking anything good over there. And who knows where Denver goes if Russ is going to be the guy. I mean, you've heard Sean Payton, gush over Caleb Williams publicly. And so we'll see what happens there. Stafford is obviously getting up there. It sounds like, though, he's still planning on playing for another year or two. I'd go try to find, Lesack might be a perfect trade partner. Lesack's got a couple guys. He's got Lawrence, and then even Matt. Matt's got Tua sitting there behind Lamar. I think it's probably pretty rare that he's starting Tua over Lamar just based off of what he paid to go get him. Boyer, we've already talked about. He's got Sam Howell sitting on his taxi. He's been, throwing like crazy, 40 attempts a game. So take a shot on one of those cheaper guys. And I think it's going to be one of those contenders that you're going to have to trade with, a Boyer, a Matt, yourself. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with. I did get reached out to about Stroud. I'm having a hard time even thinking about moving him right now with how good he is.
Yep.
I know I've got Mahomes, but I'm curious what Houston does to build moving forward too. So I think to move Stroud would be, you'd have to blow me away. It's kind of where I'm at with that. So we'll see. But yeah. So all right. I like having, honestly, if you could move Kittle to a contender here too, I wouldn't be mad about it. You're gonna ride
Yep.
Kincaid for the most part for the next handful of years. Kittle wouldn't be a bad move piece as well. Um, I think it is time for Kelly to see where he ends at week 12 and then make that decision to try to retool, not rebuild, move a couple pieces, get a couple younger pieces, and then still keep trying to compete. I don't think his team is ready to completely fall off, but I think there's some retooling that needs to be done to get younger while still being competitive.
Yeah, I think Kelly's team has definitely shocked everybody from where, maybe we had expectations going into the season. And so I think he's probably got the most intriguing play over the next couple weeks Kelly's going to be a fun team to watch. We'll see what shakes.
Yep. All right. Moving to our favorite team, Mr. Nolan. He currently has Derek Carr with concussion. He's got Tommy DeVito. He's got Zach Wilson. He's got Justin Fields on IR, so he should be coming back next week, would be my guess, which is what Nolan needs because he currently doesn't have another startable tight end. You could say Tommy DeVito or Zach Wilson, but you're banking on
quarterback.
Huh?
You said tight end.
No, I didn't.
Keep it rolling.
He's banking on Fields coming back because you don't have a startable quarterback. DeVito and Wilson, you're banking on 8 to 13, 15 points at most. So that's just not something you want. So you better hope Fields is back and plays well because otherwise you're shit out of luck with the quarterback situation. Aaron Jones, Josh Jacob at running back. James Conner came back this week. You've got DeAndre Swift, Mitchell, Kendre Miller, J.K. Dobbins on IR. So with that, Swift, Jacobs, Jones, Connor, you've got depth. I'm looking to move one of those for picks. And we'll get to that a little bit more in depth here in a little bit. Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin at wide receiver, Robert Woods, Martavius Bryant, Brandon Cooks, DJ Chark, and then you got Jalen Waddle. So your starting wide receivers are Wilson, Waddle, and DJ Moore most weeks. Tight end, you got Sam Laporta, the man, the myth, the legend, Sam Laporta. You don't have another one, so that's your starter week in and week out. You have 3 empty taxi spots as well, which shocks me because I know how active you are and I know how well you try to pick people up. It would be my suggestion as well, like we talked about. Get 3 guys on there. He's sitting on a second, 2 fourths this year, a third next year, and then a first and a fourth in 2026. So we don't have picks. I would highly suggest probably moving Josh Jacobs. I know I've asked about him. I know some other people have asked about him. I know you picked him up relatively cheap, so you're not trying to sell him cheap. But if you can get Aaron Jones off your team, I know you just got him from Boyer too, but Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, I think Swift is the only one I feel confident running into next year with. I like Jacobs. So if you're looking to run with 2 of them, Jacobs and Swift are the 2 you want to run with, which means you've got to move Conner and Jones. But I don't know what you're going to get for him. And that's the hardest part. I think your highest value guy is probably Jacobs. And if you're looking for those picks, that's what you've got to move. I like your build at wide receiver. I don't know about your build at quarterback. You've got 3 guys currently that are worthless, and then Justin Fields, which we're still not sure about what he is yet. Sam Laporta, getting him off of me early on was great. Yeah, you might have given up a lot because Dobbins got injured. But in the long run, grabbing Laporta was your goal. You wanted Dobbins, but you kept telling me you're not leaving the trade without Laporta. And it's worked out for you. Laporta has been great. And if Laporta can keep being great, you don't have to worry about tight end for another 5 years, 6 years.
Yep.
So that, I mean, that position is solidified. You don't have to worry about it, which is perfect. Um, I I I think Terry McLaurin is another one I'd be willing to offload. He's had some good games, some down games. He's currently at wide receiver 21. So if you can get a couple seconds for him at this point because of your lack of seconds, or package him with Andrew second to try to move into the first this year, I wouldn't be opposed to that. If you could package one of these running backs with Lesak second to move up into the first, I wouldn't be mad about that. But my goal right now would be trying to find an outlet into first, which would be one of your older running backs, or packaging somebody, McLaurin, Jones, Jacobs, somebody with a second to go get a first to adjust where you're at. But I think you're currently fighting to get into consolation, which is rough. I like your wide receiver build and your tight end. So I think you're in the right spot for a rebuild, but you don't have the picks to go get a running back. So Mattoon, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, first off, Nolan, good job, man, on at least making your team competitive again. I know last year it was looking pretty abysmal, and even the year before. So you made a ton of moves. We're switching values when, selling guys high, buying guys low. So I think you did a really good job of, at least giving yourself a shot this year. And obviously, between injuries and just people playing terribly, like Fields at the beginning of the year, DJ Moore at the beginning of the year, you had a lot of bad breaks. So that's life. But I think for you, Tyler, you hit the nail on the head. You've got to start moving some of those running backs. You've got Kendre Miller, you've got Roshan Johnson down, that are rookies. You've got Swift, who is still young. You've got Dobbins that you hope, he can come back. So you've got 4 really young running backs. Buying Jones, I liked because I didn't think the price was too bad. Honestly, I probably would have paid that as well. Josh Jacobs, you gave up some BS rookies and second-year guys and a second to get Josh Jacobs. Nice, solid buy to try to push that, that window to get into the playoffs, get on a run a little bit. It didn't happen. At this point, you're 100% right. Move those guys for picks. Don't wait too long because, Andy already has bought Mostert. He's already bought a running back. You were looking to buy a running back, and Rachaad White's been a stud. Your time to sell to those of us that are contending was actually probably 2 weeks ago. And who knows, the next 2 weeks could still shake up. But at this point, you're taking what you can get for those guys. Josh Jacobs doesn't have a contract next year. Aaron Jones could get cut next year. And even if he doesn't, he's got 1 more year on his deal. James Conner is, I think, 30 years old.
He's 28, but yeah.
28. But, in the Cardinals, they beat the Falcons. No one knows. No one's safe in that organization right now. So those 3 older running backs, there's too many question marks around them. They still have value right now. But as you're looking to continue to build, and the fact that you only have a second this upcoming draft, a third in 2025, and then a first in 26, you've got to start loading up on picks. The only thing that I maybe would have done slightly different, and he and I have had this conversation, is you move downs to grab 2 seconds. For me, having Waddle, Wilson, and who else does he have? Sorry. Who's the other one I'm missing? Waddle, Wilson,
DJ Moore,
and DJ Moore. 3 young running back or wide receivers. I would have moved McLaurin, not Josh Downs. Downs was showing a lot of promise. Holding the guy that's 6-7 years older didn't make sense in my opinion. So I thought it made sense to buy for Lesak. I don't think it made sense to sell that guy at that point in time for your team. I'm trying to get the youngest players I can and get as many picks to keep throwing darts. You hit Downs at the 212, I think. Great pick. Why are you moving him?
Yep. I would agree with that.
So I just, at this point, things didn't bounce your way. And I think you're currently a bottom 3 team without your own picks. Start getting back what you can.
Yeah. And it's rough because, like you said, he had bad breaks. And like Garrett Wilson hasn't been great this year because Aaron Rodgers went down week 1 and he's been playing with nothing all year. Waddle's been hurt. It's been a rough year. So like we said, it's going to be a quick retool. As long as you can hold the young guys you have and don't move them, as long as Fields comes along, you need one extra running back and you're going to be fine. But that's going to come with a pick.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at. I like your team moving forward. I just don't like it this year, and I think there's some moves you need to make to get younger now. I know you've been buying them, but it's time to readjust again. Just don't over readjust. Don't over correct your situation. So,
yeah. And I think having realistic expectations as well for what you're going to get. Yes, those running backs that we've been talking about in McLaurin are all older. We all see that as well. So trying to get a first in 2 seconds and Najee is not going to get it done. Take what you can and roll with that. Don't give them away, but at least try to get close to what you paid. Because that's the thing is, in this league, we all use basically the market that you paid. No one's going to pay 3 times what you purchased that same guy for. So,
yep. All right. Let's move on to Jer Fry. Jer Fry got Kyler Murray back this week, which is helpful. They have Baker Mayfield, and they lost Kirk Cousins and Anthony Richardson for the year. So they have a good slew of quarterbacks. I expect Kyler Murray and Anthony Richardson to be their 2 going forward. We'll see what happens with Mayfield. We'll see what happens with Cousins. They've got Justice Hill, James Cook, Khalil Herbert, Jeff Wilson at running back. So their running back room has taken a hit. Khalil Herbert going down was not great. James Cook has been good. Justice Hill, I believe, was picked up early on when Dobbins went down. They spent all of their fab on him, or they spent all their fab on somebody early. Was it Hill?
No, it was Matt Breida.
Okay. Justice Hill's just been bouncing around. It was Breida. You're right. But so your running backs are a little rough. James Cook should be good. Herbert hopefully should be good coming back. Chicago needs it. They need to just keep that running back room going because they can't throw the ball to save their life. Deontay Foreman's been good. You got Pittman, Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Wilson, Smith-Schuster, Darius Slayton, John Mechie, Josh Reynolds at wide receiver. With that, you got Marvin Mims on your taxi as well that I like. Mm-hmm. He at least has a shot. So you're starting Jeudy, Pittman, and Brown pretty much every week. Then you've got Musgrave and Hunter Henry at tight end. I do like Musgrave. I think Musgrave's gonna be a solid piece moving forward for you guys. And then you've got Andy's first and Boyer's first this year, which should both be in the back 6 minimum. One of them will be Andy's should be back 4. Boyer's could be back 4, could be back 6. Then you've got Kelly's second, couple 4th, 5th. Next year you've got a 2nd, 4th, 5th, and then in 26 you have another 1st, and then Mattoon in your 2nd. So you have some picks coming up. I do like that you've got 2 firsts and a 2nd this year, so to at least help you retool. The hard part about this team is you're pretty much holding. I mean, you could move Jeudy if you wanted. I don't have a lot of faith in him. Pittman, Marquise Brown, I'm holding on to for sure. Jerry Jeudy, for me, is probably a hold until we see what happens with the quarterback room next year. I know some people have reached out to him. I know some people like Jeudy. But I think Jeudy, for me, is personally a hold. He's still young. Who the hell knows what Denver is going to be? So I like your wide receiver situation, at least for those 3. I don't like your depth. And hopefully you can address some of that depth with those 3 first and 2nd this year. The 2 firsts and a 2nd, 3 first three early picks. And then your running back room, you're really banking on James Cook. Outside of that, Khalil Herbert, I think, is probably, as much as I hate to say it, I think he might be the best back in Chicago, but they might just run him on a timeshare moving forward if Foreman can keep being good. If Roshan Johnson can be good. So I think Herbert might find himself in a timeshare more than we want. But Cook and Herbert are fine for now for running back. Murray, I think, is going to be him and A. Rich at quarterback is a good situation. So I do like the direction your team is headed. I like that you've got some young pieces now. Where are you at on this team, Mattoon? And then we'll kind of talk about some sell pieces.
Yeah, so I know the direction that they are going is let's have 3 young wide receivers that have 5 years, of hopeful, years in their prime. They've got Anthony Richardson, who looked great, except for the dude's got to know how to go down. I mean, he's not a running back as much as he tries to be. And they've got Kyler as well. Kirk Cousins was one of those pieces. I know there was interest out there and they were holding. He's been solid, but having Kyler and having Richardson, I would have taken the best offer at that point. I understand why, maybe they were holding him or trying to get more value out of him, but at the same time, the value is what you're going to get. You've said that before. I agree with the same thing. If no one's paying it, then that's not the value. And then speaking of Judy, I was one of those guys that was high on Judy. I was expecting Sean Payton to come in, turn that offense around, hoping that, Russ could get things figured out. I offered a first and 2 seconds for him. I knew that was an overpay, but this is before I bought Ayuk and before I traded for Kirk. I knew I needed a better wide receiver 3. That wasn't enough to get it done. And I'm very curious to see what the value is. And I think you're 100% right now. Judy is a stronghold at this point. Mims, I like actually in Denver as well. He's been really efficient with his touches. It's just a matter of getting him more touches. So I like what they see there. The running backs scare the crap out of me on this team. I personally don't believe that James Cook is the back of the future for the Bills, just based off of clearly what they themselves have shown. They were trying to go make a trade for Jonathan Taylor. They've been trying to, make moves for Dalvin Cook in the free agency period. They've been, one of the top 3 teams, rumored for every running back that seems to, be taking visits. Kareem Hunt, obviously they just signed Leonard Fournette. Latavius Murray was actually really productive before I think he got hurt. So James Cook has been really good. I just don't see him being the starting running back in 3 years. And then with Josh Allen actually not using his legs as much this year, but they do tend to use his legs when they get into the red zone. I think you're just in one of those systems where the running back is kind of hard to trust, to get 15, 20 carries, 60, 70 yards and a touchdown and another 4 or 5 receptions. So I like James Cook. I think he's probably best in kind of a RB1A, 1B situation. And that can work. We've seen it work with, for example, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We've seen it work. Not that it can't. So
Zeke
I just have a hard time with
Montgomery
Zeke and
Gibbs going to
Pollard.
be there.
Yep. So it's doable. It's just hard to trust James Cook as my RB1 moving forward, building around. They've got those 2 first this year, so I think they'll be able to draft what position they want, maybe take best value. Maybe they see a guy that they really like early on and they package those 2 first to go jump up into one of the early picks. We'll see what shakes. I know where they're going. They've got pieces to do it. I think they're doing it smart as well, of kind of being patient. I'd be curious to see though if they get a little bit more involved here as potential trades start heating up as we get closer to the deadline. So
yeah, I would say this is a 2-year out window. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's about a 2-year out window. I don't think they'll compete next year unless they make some big moves. I think it's going to be at least 2 years, and then in 25 they don't have a first. So
yeah, I think 2026, and it might even be the draft of 2026, is the year that we see this team start to you let these other guys get another 2 years under their belt. You let the two first that you have this year, mature, and then you take another first, in 2026, and you see where your team's at.
Yeah. So see what happens. So let's run through a quick update from this week. We've got Colin Kelly should lose to me this week pending a decent game from Russ and Kincaid. So there's still a decent, there's still a shot that he beats me. Lesak is going to get the win over Paul, which will push him to 5-5. What's that?
I said, good job, Lesak. 5-5, man. Not maybe what you want. You're there.
Boyer is looking to get the loss. There's still a shot here. There's a lot of movement still tonight. Matt solidified his loss to Burns, which pushes Burns up to 5-5, pushes Burns to 6-4, pushes Matt to 6-4. So if it ends as is and Boyer loses at 6-4, Kelly loses, goes to 6-4. Matt loses, goes to 6-4. Burns gets the wins, moves to 6-4. That'll be an interesting little fight there. Andy gets the win, so he moves to 8-2. I'm looking to get the win, moving to 7-3, giving me a game lead in my division. And then Mattoon moves to 8-2 as well, pending that game, which pushes Kelly 2 games under. Matt and Boyer 1 game under me. Still leaves Burns a couple games behind Andy, but the wild card race is just gonna keep heating up from here. So we'll kind of see how this plays, but I think I had expectations of Burns and Matt's matchup being closer. Boyer and your matchup is still good. I had expectations of Boyer possibly winning that one as well. Which would have put you in.
Yeah, making the trade for Noah Brown was huge.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he would have been starting Josh Kelly, who had 1.6.
Right. And so everything's kind of broke right for Burns this week with him beating Matt. Matt's team choked. Boyer's looking like he might be losing, and then Kelly's looking like he's gonna be losing. So you got 3 of those teams right there in the playoffs dropping. You made the win. It's going to make for a hell of a last push. And any of you guys that are selling this, maybe, we said earlier, it might have been your window for some of us on like running backs and other things earlier on. But maybe this is a chance to reach out to a couple of these guys that had a down week, to Burns that had a good week. Not that Burns needs a lot, but this might be a window to start trying to sell again before week 12 hits and we already kind of solidify who's in and who's out.
Yeah, one of the teams I'm trying to sell to, and I know we talked about some of the other divisions last week, but things have changed, is Boyer. Boyer traded Aaron Jones, but he's got Eckler. AJ Brown was on a bye, but that RB2 spot is going to be huge for Boyer. So Nolan, I know you just bought Jones from him. Jacobs going back to Boyer might be a trade there. We'll see. Matt's team was depressing this week, to say the least.
Well, Saquon's struggling because that whole team struggles, and then McCaffrey didn't score, so he didn't hit 20 points. Right. But otherwise McCaffrey still looked good. But the rest of his team did not. So it might be a spot. It might be a spot where Matt could buy a receiver as well if somebody's looking, because Johnson, Thielen, Hopkins, they all had a rough week. Maybe this is a spot where Matt would like to buy.
Did Lamar throw left-handed the second half?
I don't know, man.
That was terrible.
So, but anyway, playoffs are heating up. We're going to be super damn close in the standings after this week. And we'll see where things go. But we've gotten through all your teams and where you should go, kind of needs, whatever. And we'll try to hit you guys back up closer to the trade deadline as things start to heat up. So make this interesting. Make us have another episode for you, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So, anything else?
No one can complain that we trashed your team the whole time. We gave you praise.
Yeah. We said some nice things about you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, on that, we're out. We'll catch you guys in a couple weeks at the trade deadline. See ya.
See you guys.